Can the Leafs get back to their winning ways with Woll returning to the crease? You're listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morassutti. Thank you for making us part of your daily listening routine, and thank you for making the Locked On Network the number one sports podcast network in North America. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NHL bets all season long. What's happening, Dave? How we feeling?
Feeling pretty good, see if we can start to see some positives from this team. And I'm trying to get the shirt up because it is a special occasion in Leafland tonight. Oh,
yes, it is the Holy Mackinac shirt. A little showing off for Joe Bowen. Bonesy, yes, it is Joe Bowen Appreciation Night tonight. And, for those who aren't aware, Joe Bowen is retiring at the end of the season. So it's the final year that Bonesy will be on the Leafs call, which is just crazy to think about because, he's been there calling games, my entire childhood. My whole childhood, adult life, my entire life, basically. Joe Bowen's been on the radio, been calling games, been saying Holy Mackinac for forever, and it's going to be bizarre, moving forward, on the radio side at least without Bonesy. And I've had the pleasure of working with him a lot, obviously working at 1050, working closely with the radio. For one whole season I was actually the producer, the Leafs game night producer for the Leaf games, so I got to work with him every Leaf game pretty much. Well, it's split between 1050 and the Fan, but every game that 1050 had, I was working alongside Bonesy and got to listen to him on the call each and every night, and it was a pleasure. It truly was a pleasure. And Bowen is a one of a kind, though, Dave. Yeah. I do want to say this. Joe Bowen is honestly truly one of the best play-by-play guys that I've ever heard. And there's a distinct difference between radio and television, and I find it hilarious. A lot of, and even you were saying before we hopped on that you wish they had Bowen on the TV call. There's a big difference between calling games on the radio and calling games on TV. There is a big difference.
True.
Now, I think radio guys could translate to TV, but it's not vice versa. TV guys could not translate to radio. I think Joe Bowen's one of the best to ever do it. I really, truly do. The way that he just lays the game out for you, the way that he calls it, the energy in which he can rise and bring it back and get really excited out of the blue. And, he's got obviously his Holy Mackinac, his Wee Willie Nylanders. He's got the catchphrases that get you excited. And, Bonesy's the best, man, the absolute best. And Leafs Nation's been lucky to have him over the course of the last 30, 40 years, listening to that guy call games on the radio. So that's what I wanted to say. Dave, I'm sure you've got plenty to say about Joe Bowen as well.
I mean, it's funny because people tend to also forget that he was a multi-sport, color broadcaster too, right? He called lacrosse. I think at one point he was calling football as well. Mm-hmm. But what I will say about Bowen is nobody in my lifetime, other than Bob Cole, I have him and Bob Cole kind of together as just voice of our childhood, iconic characters, right? In terms of everyone will always, the first thing you say Joe Bowen, it's always Holy Mackinac. Mm-hmm. That's his. No one will ever take it. No one will ever. I mean, not many guys are able to have a catchphrase like that, nowadays. You don't see that. You see some guys who are, able to find their own thing, but it's tough to really cement that as your thing. And, yeah, I mean, he obviously had to make that transition from TV to radio, which is why I thought, okay, maybe for one game you could still have him do TV at least for tonight if you're going to honor him.
Yeah.
But obviously that's a bigger conversation, not just with the Leafs, but with the network that's hosting the game as well. Maybe for his final call, it'd be nice if they got him to do that. I think it'd be nice. I always have a lot of people say, I wish Bowen was doing the TV. I say, at least you still have a way to listen to him.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
I'll credit, is it? There's one X account, I can't remember right now.
They dubbed Bowen's calls on the goal, like the TV goals. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, like it's perfect. I have so many people say that they sync up the radio call with the TV.
Yeah,
which works as well. So you still have that ability. I think I mean that's important. But I think we will always have those memories of Joe Bowen. I was surprised to see when he initially announced that he was going to be stepping away after this year, and my hope was that this team would be in a position to let him have the call that he had been waiting 4 decades to do and has never. He's gone. I guess the closest would have been in the 2000s, right? Even when he was doing Borshevsky. I always that's like a top 5 call. What I do like is you get to hear, you get reminded, like doing all these interviews, not just with him, but people who have worked with him, and remembering certain things you don't remember from his past calls. So it's nice that we're getting a chance to have those. The ability to reflect and look back on those moments.
Yeah, I'll one that like I remember very vividly, just being like feet away from him, listening to the call. The Leafs, when they were trying to make that final push, it was their first year, I want to say, that they played Florida that first year in the second round, and I remember they were down in Game 5 and they needed a goal, and they ended up getting the goal. Funny enough, but they were down by 1, and all I hear is right behind me, because the way I was sitting up in the press box, and right behind me was Bonesy, like basically right behind me, and maybe like 3 feet to my right was Bonesy in the radio booth, and I'm just sitting there, watching the game intently. I remember again, Masters on one side, Chris Johnson on the other, and we're all just sitting there watching the game. The final couple of minutes, and they were down by a goal. And all you could hear is from behind us, Joe Bowen say, "Come on, boys, we need a push." And I remember CJ next to me getting giddy. He's like, "Oh, man." He's like, "Did you hear that?" He's like, "That still gives me goosebumps." I'm like, CJ's been in the game forever, like still Joe Bowen, and his call and the way that he just tries to push the team. Like he truly is like one of the biggest Leaf fans out there. He roots for that team's success so much. And it's something that is starting to kind of go away in radio a little bit. It feels like a lot of these radio calls are trying to be more neutral, just as the way that sports have become. But Bones, he bleeds blue and white, man. That guy bleeds blue and white, and he's gonna be missed when he hangs it up, when he stops calling games. So tonight maybe go and try and listen to the game on the radio. Do the sync up. I think that is the perfect way to maybe get it done. Sync it up, the radio and the television together, and watch the call that way. But Dave, you got a Holy Mackinac call? You want to give me your best Holy Mackinac call in honor of Bonesy?
I don't want to butcher it. That's my issue. Like,
come on. Did you see the video of all the Maple Leafs doing it?
Yeah. I think Domi had a pretty good one.
It was pretty good. I mean, Domi's been listening to that call forever, like going way back to Ty and Sundin and the Roberts McGillney era. Like he's heard a lot of Holy Mackinacs in his time. Just as you and I have, Dave. I know you got one in you. Come on. I'll get you. Want me to do it first? You want me to do it first?
Yeah, you go first.
Holy Mackinac! Come on, Dave. Give me your best Holy Mackinac.
All right. Holy Mackinac!
Yeah. One of the new ones that I really One of the new ones that I really, really love is his Wee Willie Nylander. I love the Wee Willie Nylander.
Yeah.
It's a great modern call.
The thing about the Holy Mackinac too is there's so many different ways you can do it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like you can do it like there's like this like he can go for the long one when it's like a big moment, or he can just go with the quick like Holy Mackinac, like just spur like a big save.
Right.
That's like that one. Like I remember one time I was listening. I can't remember what the game was, but I was listening to it on the radio, and it was a big save. And like you hear, and there's like a delay, and then he goes like Holy Mackinac, and I'm like, what happened? What happened? And then it's like, oh, big save. Like,
yeah,
those ones are I think even more iconic too, because it's just spur of the moment. He just gets it out, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a catchphrase, man. It's his catchphrase. He owns it, and when he rides off into the sunset and retires, that's one that no one could ever use again. No one could use Holy Mackinac, not in this city, for as long as once Bonesy hangs it up. That's for sure. That's Joe Bowen's. That's Joe Bowen. So there'll be a nice little ceremony down at Scotiabank Arena tonight to honor Joe Bowen. I want to say, was it because his first game ever was against the Blackhawks?
So people are wondering why are they doing it tonight. It's because his first ever call for the Leafs was against Chicago.
Yeah,
so that's why they're doing it tonight. Again, it's not his final call.
No. He's finishing out the season. Yeah,
but they're honoring him because this is a bring back to his first call.
Yeah, a little full circle moment for him in his career, and I'm sure it's going to be a very special game for him, right? Good full circle moment for Joe Bowen. So best of luck to Bonesy. I'm sure he'll have another amazing, outstanding 10 out of 10 call on the radio tonight. Hopefully the Leafs can get him a dub on Appreciation Night, honor him with a win. That the Blackhawks in town without Connor Bedard. So let's get into that. If the Maple Leafs are getting some reinforcements coming down the pipeline and much more, let's preview tonight's game on next here on the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's why making live bets with FanDuel is so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the action. Live spreads and money lines adjusting instantly, player props updating as guys heat up. You could be next to bet on the next touchdown score, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game that moves, and so can you. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Mike DiStefano, David Morassutti with you as we're each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, with brand new episodes of the Locked On Leafs podcast, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find the show on YouTube as well. All right, Dave, big game tonight. We've got the Blackhawks in town, Toronto. Last couple games have not gone so well. They've kind of failed to play that full 60 minutes. But they get the Hawks coming to town, but very unfortunate as Connor Bedard suffered an injury late last week and was placed on injured reserve yesterday, I believe, officially, and will not be a part of this game. So anyone going down to Scotiabank Arena tonight, hoping to get the Bedsy experience, is only in town once a year, will not be in town tonight. He's out due to injury. Kind of unfortunate. Because I was looking forward to get to see him in this big breakout season.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, especially because he's been on such a run lately, right? Everyone's wondering, when are we going to see the Connor Bedard that was touted as this can't miss prospect, and he's arrived. Like, I mean, he was already here, but I think he's really
he's taken his game to that superstar level this year. for sure. And hopefully the injury doesn't derail it. Like he can come back because a shoulder injury happened on a weird fluke playoff of face-off. Ends up with a shoulder injury, and we'll see how long he's out for, but he's on injured reserve and won't be in action tonight. We could take a look at the Blackhawks roster without Connor Bedard, because it's kind of bleak here, Dave. And if you're the Maple Leafs, like you kind of have to take advantage of a weakened Blackhawks team here. They've got Frank Nazar moving up to top spot. Good young player. He's taken over the Bedard role as 1C with Tyler Bertuzzi and Andrei Burakovsky on his wings. You've got Teuvo Teravainen and Jason Dickinson and Ilya Mikheyev on the second line. Moore, Green, and Lardis on the third line. Kirby Dach, actually his brother Colton Dach, Tony Nato and Donato on the fourth line. Then you got Blashick and Crevier, Kaiser and Grzelcyk, Ethan Del Mastro and Connor Murphy as your defensive pairings, and then Spencer Knight likely to be the starter for tonight's game. Although Soderblom always plays well against Toronto, so maybe Soderblom might end up getting the start, but I believe Knight is the projected starter for tonight. And as you can see, Dave and anyone watching on YouTube, that lineup, like without Connor Bedard, like it's just not good. Like it's not good. Like you got Ilya Mikheyev and Jason Dickinson in your top six. Like Andrei Burakovsky, like, you know, he was a great player once upon a time, but he ain't a top line player anymore. There's like three guys in this lineup that I've never even heard of that are playing in this game tonight. So if you're the Maple Leafs, like you got to take advantage of this you know, down and beaten Chicago Blackhawks team tonight.
Yeah, and by the way, it looks like it's Spencer Knight starting. He was on the starter's crease during morning skate. But yeah, I mean, like, no Foligno, no Bedard. That changes quite a bit for the Blackhawks. But yeah, I mean, it's still a lineup that's you know, it's like Donato being on the fourth line. Like he was like one of their big off-season signings, right? Like just
it was a re-sign. He re-signed there.
Yeah, like bringing him back. He was like one of their big. Okay, we're not really getting anybody outside of free agency to come in, so we're gonna try to keep the guys that we have. Teuvo Teravainen, tongue twister. He had a good game against the Leafs last time, so that's somebody. If you're Toronto, you're gonna have to be mindful of. Tyler Bertuzzi didn't play Toronto the last time they went up against each other, so that's another former Leaf. If you're thinking about
having a good year, he's got 16 goals so far this season. Actually,
yeah, like
had a pretty good year.
He didn't have a good first year, and it wasn't a bad first year, but I think the expectation was because he's playing top line with Connor Bedard, you're expecting him to have a bit better of a season. Like, I'm sure many Leafs fans would say that you know, if there's one player who's gone out the door in the last couple of years, but Bertuzzi would be one of those guys that they would love to have. It's just the edge that he plays with. You know, he's good for 20 goals at least. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad, like in terms of offense last year, it wasn't bad with Chicago. Just defensively, he was not very good. So he's taken on a newer role this year. I mean, it also helps that you have a new head coach that's probably getting a little bit. Actually, I wonder if Jeff Blashill ever coached him when he was in Detroit. Now I'm thinking about that. He might have actually
probably. He would have
former
been
coach there. So you know, somebody that the coach knows and getting a little bit better production out of, like 23 goals. Sorry. He had 23 goals last year. Yes, as you said, 16 and 29 this year. Like he's again 25% shooting percentage. That's not something I think would be sustainable, but yeah, he's been one of the few bright spots for Chicago and why they're, you know, no longer a basement dwelling team, but one team that I think is still in the building stage.
Let's take a look at their player to watch for tonight's game. The Chicago Blackhawks player to watch. It's Frank Nazar, who had a really good start to the season. He has 5 goals, 20 points in 30 games this year, and started off really hot. And he's kind of cooled off a little bit. You know, the goal scoring at least. He's still picking up points and assists here and there. But now he's been elevated up to a top line. Like he's this is a big challenge for a kid like Frank Nazar, who's still very young, but former first-round pick, and he's expected to kind of be the Robin to Bedard's Batman. And with him out, like, this is going to be Nazar. He's going to have to step up and come up big for Chicago if they want to stand a chance to win this game tonight in Toronto. So we'll be locked in on Frank Nazar tonight for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, also there was a lot of head moving when you saw him get the big deal over the offseason, right? They decided, let's try to get him on the cheap, right? I think it's like a $6.59 or $6.6 million cap hit, which you think for a top 6 player, that's pretty good. It's just the production hasn't really been there. Now he's spent time in the AHL and the NHL too, so this is kind of his first full season in the NHL. He's still a young player, right? He's 21.
Yep.
So you think that now he's going to start, showing his production. And it started off pretty good. He was just over a point per game in the first month of the season. And then the production kind of died off in November, and I think 3 points in 7 games in December. Like, this is a player that needs to start. For Chicago's sake, they really need him to start picking it up. He's playing a lot more, and he's expected to be a cornerstone player as part of this core with Bedard. It hasn't happened for him yet. I think having maybe some consistent time on the top line right now should help with that. But yeah, that's a player that Chicago needs to find a way to get going a lot more.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got some lineup notes for the Maple Leafs tonight, getting some reinforcements for this game. And there's an update on Anthony Stolarz, sort of. We'll get to that next in the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
Today's show is brought to you by Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs. Put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates fast. And honestly, you don't want to have the pressure keep you from finding that right person right now. Every day without that right person in the job is a setback. That's exactly when Indeed sponsored jobs comes in handy. They make sure your post is seen by the right candidates right now. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. Today's show is also brought to you by Doer. Holidays are here, and this year I'm not stressing about what to wear because I'll be wearing my Doers. These are the most comfortable pants you can have, and they make me look good. Doer's denim and lifestyle apparel is engineered for movement and versatility. I've been recommending to all my friends to get Doers. They're my favorite jeans to wear for any occasion, and you can tell the difference with Doer's high-quality, temperature-regulating Cool Max fabrics. They keep me warm and I don't overheat. Doer also invented the original performance denim. They give you the best of both worlds, combining classic jeanwear style and the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear. So it's time for you to experience the comfort of Doer. I know you'll love them, so go pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Check out Doer at store if you want in Toronto at 44 Ossiton Avenue and mention our promo code Locked On Toronto to get 15% off your first order in store, or you can check them out online at doer.ca/lockedon Toronto for 15% off your first order. That's doer.ca/lockedon Toronto.
The Locked On Leafs podcast continues. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morassutti with you. Got a game tonight. Maple Leafs hosting the Chicago Blackhawks on Joe Bowen Appreciation Night, and elsewhere, I don't know if you saw, but Oilers and Penguins clashing tonight. Stu Skinner in net for the Penguins against his former Edmonton Oilers team. So we'll see Skinner versus Jari.
Are you going to do the Spider-Man meme where they both kind of pointed at each other?
Okay, are you there? I was there. You were there? That's me. You what? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see those two go head to head. I kind of want the Penguins to win that game. I think that'd be
Oh,
hilarious.
I want Stuart
Stu
Skinner to get a
Skinner
shutout or a
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be
big performance from
hilarious?
Stu Skinner. Like,
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
that'd be funny. Speaking of goaltending, some goaltending news in Toronto. Joseph Woll looks like he's going to be in net tonight, so he returns to the crease for the Maple Leafs. He'll be our locked-on player to watch. 4.31 on the season, a 2.44 goals against, and a 9.28 save percentage. And when Joseph Woll returned the first time, he really stabilized things for the Maple Leafs. Really did stabilize things here for Toronto. So with the Leafs, the last couple of games, things have kind of got away from them. I'm hoping that this is I don't know, a bit of a wake up call, I suppose, to get their game back in order and get back to defending, get back to protecting the puck, and getting some big saves from Joe Woll. I think it's a perfect time for him to return because the Leafs need that little motivation back in their game. Yeah,
they just have that stabilizing presence. As good like Dennis Hill to be filled in great.
He was great. Yeah, it's more on the guys in front of the goalie than it is, the goaltender themselves. To be fair,
but there seems to be the Leafs seems to have this sense of calmness when Joseph Woll is in net. His demeanor is, you just notice the difference when he is in net. So it's nice to see. I know that they were talking maybe he could have come back on Saturday, but man, don't know if I would have wanted to have him put in front of that. I don't even know disaster that was the Leafs' effort against the Oilers. So yeah, I mean, again, a nice opportunity to bring him back. Good to see him back because they're going to need him because they're going to be going with this tandem for quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think it's like Hildeby's earned the chance to see if he can be in a tandem. So we'll see what that ends up looking like. But it's nice to see Woll back in the crease. Doesn't sound like Stolarz is going to be returning anytime soon. There was an update on him yesterday in practice. Not too positive, Dave. What's kind of the latest on Anthony Stolarz?
Yeah, I mean, it's still very vague in terms of what is going on with Anthony Stolarz, but we did get one confirmation from Craig Berube, and it's not concussion related because there was the concern. Did he suffer another concussion? And we know how tough that one was for Stolarz, but that's not the issue. He's not, as Craig Berube said, he is not making the progress that we thought he would make. So he's seeing a specialist. Progress for what? We have no idea.
No clue.
Lower body? Is it upper body? No idea. So we are just gonna have to wait and see where this all goes because it's tough, but I mean, I will say this: the Dennis Hildeby emergence has made this less of a concern for me, just because you've got two goalies that you can now rely on. Now, how long Hildeby can be able to sustain what he's done, that'll be a real question. But you feel a lot more at ease knowing that you have two goalies that you can rotate. So you're not throwing Joseph Woll to play 7 of 8 games like he did the first time around. He came back. Now I think Berube is going to understand he's going to have to start mixing this tandem up a bit more.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see him back in the pipes when he's ready to go. There's no real update. At least we now know it's not concussion. There's a physical injury with Anthony Stolarz. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. As for Chris Tanev, I thought there might have been an opportunity, a chance for him to play in today's game. He was skating. There's been progression, was in a red non-contact sweater, and then yesterday he was skating in a regular sweater on a pairing, and I thought maybe we'd see him tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks, but it doesn't sound like Chris Tanev will be in the lineup tonight, huh, Dave?
No, Craig Berube already ruled him out yesterday, saying that he's not going to be back, that there was a chance the Woll was going to come back. We don't know that being true, but Tanev did make it seem like it's a fluid situation. Nice to get into a full practice. Asked if there would be a potential that Tanev could return before Christmas, and Berube says they don't want to commit to a timeline, but they're not shutting down the possibility. So I actually don't even know how many games Leafs have between now and Christmas. Maybe
there's still probably a handful of games because I think they play up until the 23rd.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 games between now and Christmas, including tonight. So 4 more games after this. So
Yeah,
there is a back-to-back 2 coming up. So they have the Preds and Stars this weekend. So you could also maybe just give them until
there.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Next Tuesday, 4 p.m. game. So early one.
Well, it's the getaway. Yeah, it's on the 23rd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of the getaway game, and then everyone scurries off for the holidays and then has to fly back and be back for the 27th. I think they got the Senators. Yeah, Sens game. So makes sense there. So no Chris Tanev tonight. And so, I'd imagine the deep pairings are going to remain the same that we saw in the game against the Edmonton Oilers. All right, Dave, let's get to the 3 keys of the game for tonight for the Maple Leafs. First and foremost, I think I stay on top of pucks. Like we saw, the Oilers get behind them, namely Connor McDavid, get in behind them. Got to stay on top of pucks. That's first and foremost. That's D101. Keep the guys in front of you and don't let them get past you. The odd man rushes, the 2-on-1s. Can't let that happen. Got to stay on top of your man. That's number 1 tonight against a younger group like the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that they don't have exactly a lot of star caliber players right now, especially with Bedard, but there's you can't.
Some speed there. There's some speed there.
Yeah,
I mean, Mikheyev, we know Mikheyev
absolutely undressed. I can't remember who it was he undressed. It might have been Benoit in that game that they played. They will take advantage if you're not within your structure and playing with details, right?
That was a safe bet, by the way. Just to go with Benoit is probably correct. It's a good safe bet.
Yeah. If I'm looking at a player who's effed up on the blue line, Benoit is probably near the top of my
probably that guy. Got to play connected. Got to play connected too, right?
Exactly.
Play as a team. Make sure that you're back there defending as a 5-man unit below the hash marks. Make it for easy outlet passes to break out the puck. That's got to be. You got to get back to doing that. No more hanging around the blue line. Those 50-foot passes, a lot more difficult than those 5 or 15-foot passes. I can tell you that. So play connected, and then a 60-minute effort. I mean, can't continue to play well for 40, 45 minutes and then just completely fall apart in the third period. It's 2 games in a row now where they've fallen apart in the third period, and it's cost them. They were up by 2 and against San Jose, and then they had a 2-1 lead, midway through that game against Edmonton, and then just completely pissed it away by just not playing till the end of the game. So 60-minute effort tonight against Chicago will be key as well. So those are 3 keys to the game. Should be a fun one. I'm excited. I do wish Connor Bedard was in action, obviously, but with Joe Woll coming back, I expect a bounce back for the Maple Leafs after that debacle in Edmonton. So I think they win, and to be honest, Dave, I think they win big. I think this is a night where the Maple Leafs show up, show out, and show the Blackhawks the door. So that's what I'm looking forward to tonight, honoring Joe Bowen as well. All right, Dave, that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. Let's thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all platforms and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti, and follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. We'll be back with another episode for you guys tomorrow to recap Leafs Hawks tonight. But until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.